to the 144,000 and the rest of your elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, GMS, the most controversial camp out there. That's an inside joke. The actual title is GMS, the most controversial camp in Israel. Priest Danyaahla finally teaches Cornelius is an Israelite. So there's this video right here, which I hadn't watched. I would listen to some of it about not even a minute. I don't know, 20 seconds. And I said, let me start it back and let me go ahead and hit the button where you get all the Israelite news. Anyway, I'm bugging. So let me just go ahead and play it. I hadn't listened to it. So the first person that you're going to hear speaking is Priest Danyaahla. What's going on here?
GMS comes out the house of David.
Here we go. I'm sorry. I'll do it again.
Around 96, 97. In 1995, there was a major split at the original school. And so you had some brothers that stayed at the school, and you had some brothers that went down and formed what became the house of David. I think the majority of camps that you guys see today were the ones that went to the house of David. Like HOI comes out of the house of David.
And I'm sorry to cut them off, but that's correct. The ones that split and left with King Marshall, these are the one Westers that vocab, the one former one Westers is talking about those people that came out of the house of David, which was formerly of one West. Now the ones that stay with one West with High Priest Ariah as the head, Yeshaya Shor, Bazak. Nothing. There was no break-off camps, so pretty much they were like in that zombie state. They were pretty much condemned in the spirit, because there's no camps out there that I know of, formerly of the 1941 Madison or the ICGJC that are out there. So the camps that you see, the former One West camps. Danyahla's a good observation on Priest Danyaahla's part. Yeah, those AOC, you're gonna hear it. That's amazing. I didn't know. See, I didn't see it. See, I don't catch everything.
My camp, Lions of Israel, comes out the house of David. IUIC comes out the house of David. GMS comes out the house of David. Then you have the house of David camp itself. Light of Zion comes out the house of David. And I could go on and on. AOC comes out the house of David. These are the majority camps that you guys know. So that's kind of showing you that a lot of the brothers, the major brothers that y'all know, we all went to the house of David. That's what we did. That's neither here nor there. I'm not here to tell a history today. I'm just kind of giving you guys a little bit of a timeline before I go into this teaching. I'm being honest, right? So after the split, we went to the house of David, and things were good. And then I want to say around, let's call it 96, 97, Tahar of GMS and Gabar also, I was right there in the room when this came out, brought up that Cornelius, they believe he was an Israelite, not an Edomite.
Yeah, that was, we would teach the class, Monday night class. It was myself, Apostle Gabar, and what's this guy? We call him Zombie Bond, that black, crispy Benjaminite. There was a demon that was under my camp, and he was supposed to teach. It was supposed to be King Marshall set it up. Each person get an hour. But I was like, what you gonna say in an hour? You need at least 2 hours. So Mo said 3-hour class, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. And since Saturday, Sunday they have the other activities. And so Monday was given to myself, Apostle Gabar, and I want to say Tazadak was his name? The crispy black Benjamin Knight. That that fell out. You know, matter of fact, years later he came past the camp, and when brothers, I was looking the other way, I went to the bathroom or something, but I didn't see him, and he said, there he goes. Then he ran faster than Usain Bolt. You know, that demon, that black demon with a Hamitic baby. Anyway, when we had that class, it worked out that Apostle Gabar, back then he was Gabar, he pretty much had the first 2 hours to himself, because I was always on the phone. There was somebody that was calling there was a woman that called from England, and I talked to her about a good hour and change, and I was just explaining to her about Israel. And then, you know, sometimes I'll be in the back, because that's when me and Danyaahla guy was cool, and then we'd go to the back, or something would happen, and it wound up that, you know, Apostle Gabar would teach maybe 2 hours. Then I said, well, let me come up for the last hour, or like it'll be an hour and a half, waiting for Zombie Bond to show up. Zombie Bond never showed up at one class, and his excuse was he was always busy. And then when the class got big, he wanted to, brought us to council saying we won't let him teach his class. I said that ain't your class, man. I said you ain't showed up yet. Now all of a sudden now you want to show up, you know? I said, nah, you ain't come. Oh, we got big people coming up in here. Stay in the room on me. I got to go do my thing. And I said, nah, you ain't doing your motherfucking thing. As a matter of fact, he was one of the guys that fell off with them crew of happy people. They used to go to different states and teach, and they would stay in hotels, and they would have pillow fights. When I heard about that, I thought about MLK. And Jesse Jackson, Jackass, and them, that they used to do that. They would have pillow. What grown men had pillow fights in a fucking hotel, you know? But I believe it was led by Yasha, which he was a frat member, you know, in college. So they do all that, you know, that's black Greeks. They do all that freaky shit, you know. Well, I heard things. Yeah, I heard things. Anyway, that's a different story.
And to make a long story short, the House of David split. Tahar and them, he took his men from Tahar. His camp was mainly in Connecticut. He took him and his men, and they went about their business. And the rest of the House of David stayed.
Yeah, at that time I was dealing with Connecticut, taking that trip up to Connecticut 2 days out of the week. Wednesdays and Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays, and because Lahab, that black demon, which I showed a video of him, Lahab, that black demon, he had took the camp from me because I wasn't treating the men right. I mean, I was hard on the men. You know, I'll curse you out in a drop of a dime, but I was fair. I was hard, but I was fair. And a couple of them, which I believe Nate was one. He had a lot. He's a complainer. He used to bitch a lot. You know, one time he pulled me to the back to tell me something that was on his mind that was bothering him. And I said, what is it, brother? You don't appreciate. I remember that. He said, you don't appreciate me. I'm like, well, what are you, my fucking wife? He said, you don't appreciate. I said, brother, I appreciate you. Okay, let's go back around in the room. This guy was real. He was real wet behind the ears, man. He'll tell you that or get mad. Anyway, Lahab played on that and took the camp from me because I wasn't running the camp right. And then he told me about a month later, he said, you running the camp, like you're supposed to. You running it. They had no problem, but you had no problem with you running the camp. He said, I just took the camp from you to show you that I'm over you and I can do this. And that's when I said, well, that's when we started calling him the Black Demon. That's when we started calling this guy. We used to call him the black. Anytime we said the Black Demon, we knew it was between myself, Apostle Gabar and the Apostle Danyaahla. And we said, yeah, what about the black demon? And then it got back because there was a brother that was cool. But we told him about that, and he wanted to make us look bad. And he said, he brought it up in front of Lahab. And they call you the black demon, Lahab? And then, you know us, we were like, and said, the brother got demons on him. I was, what's this nigga talking about, And but anyway, it came out that he was the black woman. But he didn't have no problem with it because I guess he knew he was the black demon, So there was a lot of stuff going on. And I was happy to be in Connecticut. And I forgot about them guys. Not really, but all the motherfuckers in that camp that I had was 50 to 51 to 52 brothers in the camp. Every last one of them went back into the world, fell off, not doing the work. The only two that's left is Apostle Gabar and Bishop Nathaniel. Those are the only two that still do the Hebrew Israelite thing. All them other guys fell off. Now, you might say, well, what about Apostle Ricard? He was at a Brooklyn camp, which was Yahshua's camp, which me and Lahab set up that camp in Brooklyn. I believe that's Fulton and Hoyt. So I did a lot of, you guys that I get on, you got to do work. I was doing work. I'm the one that came up with the whole concept of multiple camps. So y'all didn't know, understand, y'all know that. They had the camp on Saturdays. They would set up on 34th Street, and then on Sundays, they would set up on 44th Street in front of the 1515 building. So I'm giving you some history. So I told Ariah, I was real close with Ariah Mo. I was real close with him. Man, I had keys to the school and all that, man. I can tell you where Mo lived in the Bronx and where Mo moved down to Manhattan. I can show you I can show you both the buildings. How many brothers could do that? But anyway, I told Ariah, I said, Ariah, the camp is kind of getting big. We should split the camp up. And on Saturdays, we go on 44th. And Sundays, we go on 44th. Because we're going out to Saturdays and Sundays. Well, we just do Saturdays because people might be working all week. So you got to need a day to chill out. But he said, yeah, that's a good idea. So we split the camp up. And the 44th camp really became the major camp on Saturdays. So we was on 44th and 34th, and I kind of pulled up in the leadership of running the camp. Ariella came in, and then we had another camp. Me and Ariella came in, then we had another. So we had a third camp. Then when me and the elder Lahab or the priest Lahab, high priest Lahab, when we set up the Fulton and Hoyt camp, it was just me and him. Lahab would speak and I would read because I was young, I was new. Then High Priest Ariella came in, and then we built that camp got built up. That camp got big. That was a big camp. And Barak was in the camp, but then we said, well, we're gonna go to the Bronx. We're gonna open up another camp, build that up. And Barak was the head, but then Yahshua kind of came in. So that became a big camp. And then every once in a while I would go down to that camp and kind of hang out with Yahshua or whatever. And that's where I met the men from the old Boston camp. And the brother came up to me and we exchanged numbers. And I took, the long ass, but I had a bunch of brothers with me. We'd take that long ass trip up to fucking Boston from New York. That's a trip, bro. And that got big. But then all them guys were young and they fell off, But there's a lot of twists and turns. That's why, hey, I'll tell you, if you ain't right in the spirit, I'll give you a chance to get yourself together. If not, I'm cutting you the fuck. I said, look, brother, you out of here, man. Or I'll give you I said, you suspended for 6 months. You come back right, you good. You come back mad, eventually you're gonna get kicked. I don't have time for the bullshit, bro. I don't have time for the bullshit, and I'm not buddy with every fucking body. All right. Anyway, now Danyaahla, we know him. We been know him, Mr. Lake Day man. That's Mr. Lake Day. So he couldn't see it. He'll get into it.
And they began teaching that Cornelius was an Israelite.
Like I said, that was a slip that that Apostle Gabar was thinking out loud, because we were going through Acts 10. Acts 10 didn't always sit right for me with me, but I didn't buck up against it, because they said Cornelius was there to hold the book, and I always said, well, wait a minute, the book wasn't even written, the whole Bible wasn't even written, so what book are you talking about? But anyway, we were going through Acts 10, and Apostle Gabar thought out loud and said, you know what, man? Cornelius got to be an Israelite. And then I said, keep it down, because we got to talk about that, But before the split, I don't know, a year before the split, Ariyah went to Shaw, said, call Tahar, because he told me that. He said, Shalom, Tahar. That's how Shaw talked. Yeah, Ariyah think Cornelius is an Israelite. He want to know what you think about that. And I hung the phone up on him. Then he told High Priest Ariyah, and High Priest Ariyah said, well, maybe I'm wrong. Let me not bring it up. So it wasn't pulled up, because anytime Ariyah saw something in the spirit, he would go to myself, he would go to Shaw, he'd go to Yeshai, he'd go to Kazak, he'd go to Mashah, he'd go to Yaikwab, or he would have a meeting, including Yohanan and Barak. If we have meetings, we would be in the meeting, because, we see something new. What do y'all think about it? Which Ariyah was a fair. High Priest Ariyah was a fair, and Priest Danyaahla tell you that, He hit the numbers, man, and he'll take 30 brothers out, and whatever y'all want to do. We go to the movies, he'll buy everything. That's the type of man that he was.
And then systematically over the years, a lot of other camps started looking into it, and we agreed that Cornelius is an Israelite. These are facts. But it started with Tar from GMS. This is true. Even the elders, the original elders, switched the teaching that Cornelius was an Israelite. I'm talking about the elders that taught Tahar.
Right, Ariyah and them. They taught. We didn't know, but we found out that they were teaching it, because it was ultimately the spirit. That's why, General Yohanan teaches, ISUBK teaches it, because he was part of the original One West. So when they changed it, General Yohanan saw it, so he taught the people that was under him. And Nate, what they had the council, and he might mention that, after they kicked us out, they just kicked us out. And then I guess they, to be on the right side, maybe we were wrong, they did the research, and then they started teaching that Cornelius was an Israelite. So the only guy out, the odd guy out is the great and powerful Zabak. Well, Zabak is not looking too good for you, brother. We're not even mad at you. We're not mad at you. We just looking at you in a different light now, man. You got mad because we jumped on you. First of all, we jumped on Heckle and Jekyll about their thing, and they mad, and you take their side. You show them the utmost respect, and they fucking knew, bro. You had no business saying, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. So, ain't no motherfucking heathens coming up on them ships to go into slavery. What kind of fucking sense does that make?
Had to switch it because it was right. Brothers became the Church of Berea. We looked into it and found out the doctrine was right. In the spirit of true transparency, I was one of the last holdouts, because I put so much faith and stock into the leaders originally, that the way that they taught it, that I was one of the last later holdouts.
Did you hear what he said? He said he couldn't see it because he's following the leaders, just like Zabak. Zabak made a statement. The original 7 never taught that, so I'm going with the 7. Say, well, the 7 went off. That means if somebody asks you about Tazadakia, is he actually God sent comforter? You don't have to say yeah. They say, why you say that? Because some of the original 7 said that.
Holdouts on this stuff.
So that just shows you that Priest Zabak is not one of the elect. If I was him, I would fast and pray that the Most High open up my spirit. And pride is being let in, So you gotta fast and pray. If the Most High is with you, look at it this way. ISUPK is teaching that Cornelius is an Israelite. IUIC is teaching that Cornelius is an Israelite, where the head of IUIC kicked us out because we were teaching that Cornelius is an Israelite. We, of course, are teaching that Cornelius is an Israelite. High Priest Ariah thought about it before the split that Cornelius might be an Israelite. Well, how much more sense do you need? You're spiritually you're spiritually stagnant. That's why guys can't get the mark of the beast thing. And even Priest Danyaahla, the man speaking that you hear, with his testimony, there was two of them. They did a music video, and in the video, he's on earth mover, them yellow earth movers that dig up stuff. I guess he works in that industry, and he said in the lyrics of that particular song, that rap, he said I'm not going to put the chip in my right hand. That's what he said. And then we caught on it, and then maybe a year later we said, yeah, you did a video about the chip. But so he was kind of running from that. You said it years before you. I don't know if you still see it, but I'm pretty sure you see it, that the mark of the beast is the microchip. So my question is, what's wrong with the ISUPK, and what's wrong with the IUIC? And I'm not even going to say Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is following Zabak. Zabak right now is a blind leading the blind. And what happened to the blind that leads the blind? They shall both fall into the ditch. Because he's going to have to explain it. When the chip becomes mandatory, here it goes again, my favorite subject. When the chip becomes mandatory, then you're going to see it.
Doctrine before I changed it myself. These are facts. Sahar used to curse me out, and GMS used to curse me out. This is before most of y'all time on YouTube. Sahar used to curse myself and Bud Lawyer out about it because we didn't switch it as quickly as everybody else did. But upon looking at the information, it's clear that Cornelius is indeed not an Edomite. Let's start there.
What did he say? Upon looking into the information, just like the grape thing. A lot of you guys we don't tell people, look, we got a lot of young brothers in the camp. And if that was the case, there would have been young brothers been doing that and then told the cops, well, the leadership of the GMS told me I can do it. No, we never said nobody. We told them, pull them to the side. Oh, you better not be out there, because if you get caught up, you go into jail. Like you're gonna hang out with you're gonna be Polite's butt buddy. So he did. What did he say? He said he'd do the research. And one thing I got to say about Priest Danyaahla, he is a researcher. He will dig things up. I wouldn't be surprised. Every time I see him, I wouldn't be surprised if he's Tacitus or Josephus or one of them, because he is a researcher. He digs in. And what did he say? He said, I finally, we used to bother him, and he finally came around and he did the research that he found it. So I'm positive he knows that the MOTB is a mark. He actually said it in a rap, a video.
Let's start there. Why brothers are teaching Cornelius is an Edomite? I'm going to show you guys why, and I'm going to give you guys information so that that needs to be put to bed today. The idea of Cornelius being an Edomite and you teaching that based on what's written in Acts 10 means, and I mean no disrespect, so I'm trying to find some good words, it means you don't study.
Did you hear what he just said? It means you don't study. Well, that means you're not one of the elect. But you should fast, pray, and pray that the Father open up your eyes, and you may be one of the elect. Like I said, when the grape thing came up, a lot of you brothers got all emotional. You know who put all y'all to shame? A woman, a sister. What's her name? Shadar. I haven't seen her in a while. Shadar, whatever. I forget her name. I haven't seen her in a while. So But she came out and said, you know what? I did the research and it's true. GMS got it right. But this is a woman saying that. A woman saying that. So guess what? She didn't get caught up in her emotions. She did the research. Just like Danyaahla said, I did the research and now I can see. If you do the research, if you're like the Church of Berea, you're going to do the research.
And that's not a shot at anybody, but it means you don't study or you don't know history like
Napar Shadar, Napar Shadar, Napar Shadar.
like that. So guess what? I'm about to teach you some history. And it's okay. I just told y'all, I myself was a long holdout from teaching this myself. And then I had to dive into the history books. And I'll give the brother credit. There's a brother by the name of Kanash Char, good brother that was always on my grass about that. Like, Dan, you got to change that. You know, you got to change that. You got to change it. You got to change it. And I remember Tahar doing videos and cursing me out. GMS is cursing me out. Amber Lloyd. And we refused to change it.
Cursing him out in love. Just like we doing the Zabak. We always curse people out, man. Al-Azhar, before the big scandal, he said he made a statement on the no jumpers that, we could be here for another 1,000 years. And who jumped on him about it? Us. And what did he do? What was the reaction? He got mad at it. He cursed us out. Because he got caught up in his emotions. Then the scandal came. Whether you did that, whether this chick is lying, the action that was that took place. Whether you is innocent.
And Kanai was on every time I would talk to Kanai, he'd bring Cornelius up. I'm like, damn, brother. And then one day I said, you know what, I'm going to go into it, I'm going to look into it. And I looked into it, and I'm going to show you guys what I found. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you.
All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakha Kudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Priest Danyaahla finally teaches. Cornelius is an Israelite. Call Haloyim Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. And this is all we've been saying over the years when we get on these different individuals.
Bottom line is, if you don't know it, if they didn't go up there and tell you, GMS is the #1 camp. Okay, we don't need 2,000 brothers with purple and gold marching down the street to show you that we're the #1 camp. We are the #1 camp. We are the resident scholars, the highest of the high, the new 7, the magnificent 7.
Individuals, you know, that if you pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, you're part of the elect, and you do some studying and look into these things, you know, the Spirit could work with you to, you know, find out that Cornelius, in fact, indeed, unequivocally is an Israelite and not an Edomite.
Study to show thyself approved, a workman needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. What does it mean to rightly divide the word of truth? That means you got to go. There might be something in a verse in the New Testament that you got to go to the Old Testament to fulfill. The whole Gentile thing. What is the key to the whole Gentile thing? You got the controversy with the Israelites and and Jake and the Christians. Well, what about it says the Gentiles? You have to go into the history. You have to go into the Maccabees. Now, if you jump up and say, well, the Lord never dealt with it, he never prescribed the Maccabees. Well, wait a minute, he kept the winter feast. That's only found in, go to chat, go to Google. What does it mean by the Lord saying the winter feast? Matter of fact, so we're through it. We don't want no Christians around. Well, I ain't got nothing to say to you Christians. Go ahead and do what the hell you do. Give me a second here. Oh, by the way, we were wrong. Genesis is right. White people are going to be beamed up. You see the picture? See the picture right there? Anyway, let me do this. Okay, let me do this here. Bear with me for a minute. What did Jesus Christ mean when he spoke about the winter feast? The winter feast Yahushua spoke about, mentioned in John 10:22, was the feast of dedication known today as Hanukkah. How do you know that? Because he had access to the scriptures. It's obvious. The day Israel was back then was teaching about, so they knew about the Maccabees. They knew about Antiochus Epiphanes. So Christians, as far as the Gentile thing goes, the understanding that the Gentiles are actually Israelites, you got to go back to the Apocrypha, the Josephus, the Apocrypha. That's why you got these guys. When we say Deuteronomy 28:68, it's talking about the transatlantic slave trade, and they'll say no, that's talking about 70 A.D. Yes, that did happen in 70 A.D., but it was only men, Israelite men, 17 years older. In Deuteronomy 28:68, it says male and female. It was the men that they took, and they didn't get on ships. They took what was called the Via Maris, which is the way of the sea. The sea was the Mediterranean, and not only the Romans used that. That was a famous trade route among those nations in the Levant. So what the hell y'all talking about? Let's come back over here. I'm sorry.
And this is all we've been saying. We've been, we caught all kind of flack behind it. We've been called to hate, like we hate our brothers, this, that, and the other. When all we're trying to do, we're just trying to be there for you, dog. We're just trying to help you.
I knew you was going to say that. I knew you was going to say that.
Get, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shav, you're part of the elect. Help you, escape the clutches of Satan,
But if you're not one of the elect, you're not going to make it, no matter what you do. I don't care how many years you put in. Was you one of the elect? Zabak was pretty much like Apollos. Apollos only knowing the gospel, the gospel of John. In other words, John's teaching. John the Baptist, and it was that's in Acts 18, and it was Aquila and Priscilla that persuaded him to the full knowledge of the truth.
And this is what we've been telling Captain Desire concerning the MOTB. We've been telling you different brothers out there that
you got to be retarded. Either you got to be retarded or you took the bag. If you can't see that the MOTB is a mark of the beast, like I said, the evidence is overwhelming. The receipts are stacked yay high. If you can't see it, you're blindly following your leaders, and your leaders ain't teaching you that. They can't see it. They you know why I can't see it? Because they don't want it. They don't want to see it. Because they got that. They got the bag of money in their eyes. They took the bag.
Do study, that if you were to, of course you have to be a part of the elect, but if you were to put aside that pride and, look into doing the research, going into the Hebrew and the Greek words, going into history, you would find out these things are so if you are part of the elect.
Oh, I'm going to put this out there. I think I said in another video, what if that marketed thing came up when we were with the 7 and everybody's together, no splits, and they confronted us and said, you can't be teaching about the mark of the beast. What am I going to say? I'm going to say, I'm going to still teach it. Oh, you're going to get kicked out. I said, well, you know what? You can kick me out. I'm ready to go. Matter of fact, Ariad did that to me. He said, what the hell, how did he say it? He said, you're going to take my rank. And I said, go ahead and take it. And then he kind of laughed. He said, man, just do the right. because I wasn't coming around a lot. I was busy in Connecticut, and I used to come around a lot to the school, and he noticed I ain't coming around like I used to, and then he said, yeah, just come, just show your face. I said, okay, Ariel, I'm sorry, you know, and I came to show. Me and Ariel were very close, you know, and Masha and Yaquab.
Try to find this one. Let me try. I'm trying to find this one precept. Just bear with me. Let me try it this way. 41 matches. I believe it's in the New Testament. Right here, yep. Raktiel Bashimel Shai. 2 Timothy 2. Let's go there. Actually, I'm here already. Let me go to the... Matter of fact, let me read this one first. And then we'll go to 2 Timothy chapter 2. So let me bring it back. All right, so we got 2 Timothy chapter 3. And no, this is not the one. I tell you what, let me go to, I believe it's 2 Timothy 4. Just bear with me 1 second. There we go. And then we'll hit 2 Timothy 2. And this is all we've been saying, you know, and man, I mean, I heard it yesterday. I wanted to do the video yesterday. I didn't get a chance to. You know, it made my day, you know, because, you know, we love it, you know, when brothers get the truth, you know, when brothers actually do the research, become Berean-minded, and actually look into things, and the Spirit works with them, you know, that brings us joy. We don't want to see any of you brothers perish, especially men that's been out there laboring, putting work in for years, you know, and just, you know, sacrificing their time and their effort to do the work. No, we don't want to see anybody perish, you know, but
except for Zabak. No, I'm just joking. I wish Zabak come around, you know. And like I said, he lied. He's lied as it stands. He lied on us. He's still, the ball's in his court. If he doesn't produce it, hey, oh well, big deal. But that was a reaction of you know, anger. Them guys are gonna kill us. Come on, I'm gonna kill somebody. We go to the court. Do you plead guilty or not guilty that you told a brother a breakdown he didn't get and you shot him? Yeah, I shot him, Your Honor, because he didn't get that breakdown. I'm gonna shoot. No, we're not gonna do nothing like that. We are the number one camp, not Bishop Nate. Numbers don't make you, don't make you, bro. Numbers don't make you, all right?
But at the same time, you know, you got to teach the doctrine correct, man, because you're representing Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You're not representing yourself. You're not representing your leader. You're representing Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. The leadership was set up to keep order, you know? But if your leader teaches some wayward off doctrine, you can't follow that. And you can't bank on every word that individual says if they're not, you know, of a sound mind. You know? And I want to say this before I read this. When you go back to the time of Elder Abba Bivens, by the time High Priest Ariah, you know, which was the main teacher back then, you know, King Masha, you know, he get down, he could teach, he gets down, he knew the scriptures, you know, but the top scripture man back then was Elder High Priest Ariah. There were things that he taught that Elder Abba Bivens didn't teach. Because Elder Abba Bivens, it wasn't revealed to him, you know, certain things that were revealed later on to High Priest Ariah, you know, because everything isn't just given to one man, you know. The scriptures, you know, it tells you in Isaiah 34 that it was given to them line upon line, or line by line, you know. Every prophet had a certain portion of the Spirit, you know, and then when you come together, that's a power pack. So there were things that High Priest Ariah taught that Elder Abba Bivens didn't teach. And there were things that were taught back then that were wrong that over the years had been corrected. Because remember, before we came in, of course, our elders going back, they learned from the small hats. They learned from them mini caps. They learned from them first. So there were a lot of things that them devils were teaching that was off. But the point was, found out we were Israelites, started building, and after a while, you see the discrepancies, reading the scriptures, said, nope, this is off, cut that out. So pretty much what you're doing, what was done over the years was leaven was removed out of the equation. And the true sober doctrine, sound doctrine was taught. All right, so this is 2 Timothy chapter 4. I'll start at 1, the point is in 2. I charge you therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season. And some of you guys ain't doing that. I don't remember the last time I seen a video with Commanding General Yohana, King, Almighty High Priest, exalted Grand Poobah Bishop Nathaniel. I don't remember the last time I seen him out there on the streets teaching. Unless it's some big event, where he's gonna gain fame and following and a following. So some of you
now, Beauty, I'm gonna speak on that. That's a talking point. If them guys don't go out, the men that's under these guys say, we're not gonna go out. It's too cold. I don't feel like I'm gonna take a break. I'm not gonna go out for a month. They'd be brought up on charges. But now, if they would have said, well, why ain't you going out? What's their excuse? These guys from the IUIC go out from the different state, the camps. They go out because they're ordered to go out. Why are they ordered to go out? Well, the Most High said you got to go on the highway and the byways. Then why doesn't the leadership? None of the leadership in IUIC, I'm focusing on. Nate doesn't go out until they go to a trip somewhere to another country. Then he likes the big hot spotlight. Nate, Yawasop, Kanai, them three, which is the three so-called heads. When was the last time they was out there for 2-3 hours, getting it in? Because if it's good for them, it's good for y'all. Y'all don't got to get in. Maybe Atlanta camp. We ain't gonna go out no more. We've been doing this for 10 years. We ain't gonna go out no more. We're just gonna do the home thing. No, there'll be a problem. So that's hypocrisy right there. I'm out there every goddamn weekend. Anyway, let me see. Let me do this here. I wanted to look this up because I believe he mentioned Berea, right? Berea, Jews in the city of Berea who were noted in the New Testament book, Acts 17, for being more noble because they eagerly received the Apostle Paul's message and then examined the scriptures daily. Let's see if the Apostle Paul's telling the truth. Let's go ahead and go and dig in to verify its truth. This is what Priest Danyaahla did. He said he went into it eagerly to verify the truth. This practice of checking new teachings against daily study of the scriptures has made them a model for belief. Ooh-wee. Paul said, I have to commend these men. These are noble. These men are more noble than the church of Thessalonica. Why did he compare it to church of Thessalonica? Thessalonica. That's hard to say. Thessalonica. Because they were, if he stopped at the church of Thessalonica, he went to Berea because it was about 45 miles away. So it took them a couple of hours, depending on how they got there. A couple of hours. They didn't have cars, of course. They had the horses and whatever. So let's say it took a couple of hours. So anytime he would go to one church, he would always go to the other. So he said, I noticed something. That's the church, the Israelites of Thessalonica, whatever I say, they just go with it. But the church of Berea, they always question me, which is a good thing. I want you to do that. who are encouraged to be open-minded yet diligent in their study of the Most High. All right? Of the Most High's word. That's why it says, study to show thyself approved, a workman needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So a lot of these guys in these camps that have a leader, they just go, that's called a herd mentality. Most of these camps have what is called a herd mentality. Let's look that up. Herd mentality. It's easy to cheer for 2,000 men in gold and pearl. Oh, these are the greatest motherfuckers on the planet Earth. Look at this. This is marvelous. This is so wonderful. That's why they got so many Black Panthers that joined in the hood, because they had the black on the right. They had the rifles, and they was marching, putting up the Black Power sign. They had the plastic Black Power Afro pick. Anyway, where did I say I was gonna go? I forget about it. Let me come over here. We'll come back. I don't know. Where am I?
You elders out there that have been in this thing for years, decades, you don't even go out in the streets anymore. You got the young men going out there. So we're supposed to teach in season, out of season. If it gets cold, you're supposed to be out there. If it gets hot, you're supposed to be out there. As long as it's not overbearing, as long as it's not, freezing temperatures and super hot temperatures where you can't, go out. But for the most part, you're supposed to go out there. Our elders were way into their 50s and 60s and 70s back then, and they were still out there, in that cold, teaching. So it says here, this is the main point: reprove, rebuke. And you Israelites out there, you get emotional and upset and mad when somebody rebukes and reproves you, corrects you. This is a part of this is a part of our culture. I remember years ago, Elder Yashawamba said that, and it resonated. This was a part of our culture. To reprove, to rebuke, to correct, to curse a man out for doing something that was off. That's a part of our culture. But this Western
and not be bitch made. Take it like a man.
World has dumbed you guys down and has, emotionalized you. I want to use another word, but it made you so goddamn emotional. To where you reprove or rebuke someone, they get mad at you. And this is what the reprove and the rebuke is for. Because before I read on, this is where a lot of you are heading if you don't repent, if you don't take heed to the message that's being taught, if you don't listen to what Yahweh Bashim Shai is trying to tell you. Proverbs 29:1. He that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. So the correction is for what? For you to be able to catch yourself. As it says here in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2, right? It says, I start at 22, flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace, with them that call on the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai out of a pure heart. But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strikes, right? And that's why if somebody come out with some bullshit, we don't deal with that. There's one Ephraimite dude approached me, in the supermarket I was in. He made a comment about my shoes. I said, oh man, so he used that as an opening, and he tried to push that Jesus shit on me, right? I had so I said, what color is he? It just came out. I said, what color is he? Well, he's like them, them people over there. He's a little darker, and I said, well, his hair, scripture says his hair was made of wool. Oh, that wasn't his glorified state. I said, okay, man, have a good day. And I just stepped off. We don't have time to be dealing with the foolishness.
We don't tolerate those stupid, silly, dumbass, retarded Christians.
You can see the glaze on these people's eyes that they're not going to get it. But for you individuals out there that know that you're Israelites, that have been teaching, these corrections go out for you. So that you can, catch yourself in whatever it is that you're going off on. Whether it's the MOTB, whether it's Cornelius being an Edomite, which priest Zabak still holds to that. Now, priest Danyaahla, I have to commend the brother. He went back. You heard him. He gave his testimony. He said the one brother kept asking him over and over again, and he got tired of hearing the brother asking him. He said, "Damn, why does brother always?" So you know what he did? Instead of getting emotional, which he started to get emotional, but instead of getting emotional, he went and he did the research. And guess what? The Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai guided that man. And guess what? He teaches now that Cornelius is an Israelite when he taught against it staunchly back then. And it's a beautiful thing when brothers get it. Just like if tomorrow Bishop Nathaniel and the IUIC and the ISUPK started teaching that the micro-CF was the MOTB, we'd be elated. Of course, they'd probably say that we never taught that, we taught different, but that's okay. Because the Apostle Paul said, whether in pretense or in sincerity, Yahweh Shai is preached, and I therein do rejoice. As long as the truth is going out. That's all we care about. That the truth in its pure state, its pure form is taught. That's it. So I'm elated that the brother said that. I'm happy, man. I'm glad the brother got that. I'm glad that he finally sees that Cornelius is an Israelite. And he did the Berean thing. He went and he did the research. And he found out. And the first person that I heard bring out the information, or a term called Regeni Emerseni Udei, if I'm saying that correctly, which I'm probably butchering it, which is the sons of Israel in Caesar's service, was the elder Banyamya from the HODC. That's the first time I heard that term. Because they brought it out, and I believe it was the elder Barak that said, that Cornelius was from the famous Corneli family. He's an Edomite. No, that's bullshit. But then I heard Elder Banyamya mention that name, and I'm not sure if he had a presentation that he presented or it was on screen, and I looked it up and I said, oh shit, this is some good information. So we give credit to where we get the information from. Because the priest Danyaahla, when you watch the video from this point on, from the hour and 60, because you can start around the hour and 12 minutes, which is, this was sent to me by the elder Yashawanba. He told me the minute marker. And you see we watch about 4.5 minutes, and he gave the testimony. Now from here to the end, he goes into all of that history, and it's beautiful. We get happy when we see this, right? So now back in 2 Timothy 2:24, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness instructing. This is what we're doing. We're instructing those that oppose themselves. Because when you teach that Cornelius is an Edomite, you're opposing yourself. When you teach that the MOTB is not the micro-CHIP, that it's a Christianity or embargo, whatever, you're opposing yourself. So we instruct in meekness those that oppose themselves, if the Most High peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth. Because holding on to this message, this truth, is very vital. The scriptures speak about receiving the engrafted word with meekness, which is able to save your soul. So it's very important to teach this doctrine, this truth, in its pure form. You can't deviate. And when you teach that the MOTB is not the micro-CHIP, it's anything else but the micro-CHIP, you're giving an uncertain sound to the people out here. To where when it comes out, well, they said it was, and Israel, they're sheep. He said, they said, Bishop Nathaniel and Commander General Hanna said it's not the micro-CHIP, so I could go and take it. I'm good. And end up being in the lake of fire, destroyed. It says, and that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will. Beautiful. I'll even send kudos in a big, hearty shalom to that brother that kept getting on priest Danyaahla to look that up. Because you know what that brother did? He converted, he through the spirit pulled, priest Danyaahla out of that fire that he was in on teaching that Cornelius was an Edomite. You know, and he gained great brownie points with the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let's go to James real quick. 5. Right? James 5:19. Brethren, if any man and any of you do err from the truth, and one convert him, let him know that he which converteth the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death and shall hide a multitude of sins. So that brother did a great thing. The Spirit was on that man constantly to prod into Priest Danyaahla, you know, and dealing with Cornelius, the Cornelius issue. You know, so what, know what he did? He provoked him to love. Let's go to that real quick. Hebrews chapter 10. And this is a beautiful thing. So you think, oh, yo, GMS, all you gotta do is hate, you can't bang. No. The Spirit of the Lord is on us to correct you, to reprove you, to rebuke you, so that you can, you know, acknowledge that you're going off, go back and do the Berean thing, look into the research, and peradventure, if you be a part of the elect, the Lord open up your eyes so that you can see. And guess what? You would be thankful that you were taken out of that blind path you were walking and put back on the right path, which shows you that the Lord loves you. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24. It says, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. And that's what that brother did. He provoked him unto love and to good works. Now, when you look up this word provoke in the Greek, the word there is paroxysmos, right? And it means an incitement, irritation. You know? So pretty much the brother, by constantly going to him and mentioning, you got to change that, Dan, you got to change that, Dan, he irritated the priest Danyaahla into going to do the research, and guess what? The Spirit revealed it to him. This is what we've been telling the individuals like Captain Tazariak and all you other individuals out there. Do a little research. Look into these words. You know? And if the Spirit is with you, you're going to see, oh, the MOTB is the microCF. Especially those of you that really study, that really get into the scriptures, that really do the research, that go into the history, that look up words in the Hebrew and the Greek. You know? That's all. So, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem.
Sorry, let me go ahead. I just want to read this in NLT. Work hard so you can present yourself to the Most High and receive His approval. Be a good worker or studier, one who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly explains the word of truth. So in the Cornelius thing, either we're lying or Zabak's lying, or whoever teaches that. On the mark of the beast being the microchip, either we're lying when we say it's a chip, or they're lying. So the question is, who's lying? Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. And we stand on what we teach. Are you sure? Are you sure? I'm a 1,000,000,000% sure. 1,000,000,000%. Okay? Lay it all on the line. That's the mark of the beast, the microchip. The only reason why these guys don't teach it, I believe, is because the evidence is overwhelming, is because they took the bag. And don't let me start with Genesis. They took the bag. They recently took the bag, in my opinion. I can't prove it. But why would you teach this bullshit? I bet you I won't be surprised if they say, well, the mark of the beast is sin in all of its forms. We were wrong on that. Them are young men. They're gonna go down hard. They're gonna fall hard, bro. Come on back. Okay, this is a long video.
Yahushua, that priest Danyaahla, and you know, of course, his congregation is teaching now that Cornelius is an Israelite. That's all we've been saying.
But the question is, why is his congregation? If he's teaching, he got a congregation. Why are they teaching it? Because he said that. See, a lot of followers, man. Oh, I said I was gonna go to this to in Google. Give me a second. The herd mentality. There goes a picture. There goes a picture. It's not popping up. Let me do it this. Let me do this. I'm sorry. Let me do this. Why doesn't this come up? Okay, here we go. I don't know where we're going, but from the look of this crowd, it's gotta be good. So you got these guys jumping. You got the leader over here, and you got people just jumping to the death. That's the herd mentality. Herd mentality is so now when Priest Danyaahla did the research and saw it, he told his congregation, if they said, okay, that makes sense, that means they have a herd mentality. They're not of the elect. If they see it when you see it, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a major problem. Okay, you got a bunch of followers, you got a bunch of zombies following you. If they in fact, so they could, oh, we can see it now. No, you can see it because he saw it. And if 2 weeks later, you know what, I was wrong, let's go back to, okay. The majority, I would say 95% of these Israelites out there are a bunch of followers, and they go into the definition of the herd mentality. Herd mentality is the tendency of individuals to conform to the actions, beliefs, and behaviors of a larger group. That is why so many people go to IUIC, because they see a large group. Why? How they get that large group? Because of gimmicks. What's the term? Damn, I haven't used the term in a while. Damn, what's the damn term? I can't even think of the term. Somebody help me out, y'all. My mind is a blank. It'll come back to me though. Anyway, it says it's a Greek of Greek origins. It says even at the expense of their own judgment, this behavior is driven by the human desire to belong, and can have both positive, like cooperative efforts, and negative consequences, such as engaging in risky behaviors or succumbing to manipulation. So you're being manipulated. Whatever this nigga says, whatever he says, I'm going with it. If he changed up, I'm gonna change with him. So the everybody in the IUIC are all, and they hate when we call them zombies, but you are zombies. You are a perfect, like following a popular trend to more dangerous situations like mob violence or financial panics. Mob violence, when does that happen? These people that are protesting, a lot of them are set up to get financed, to rile up the people. You know? They're called agent provocateurs. Let me look that word up. Agent provocateurs. An agent provocateur is a person who instigates others to commit crimes or disruptive acts, often to discredit or undermine a movement or group. See, we got to stop past this law because look what they did. Yeah, because you had agent provocateurs. Let me look up another word. What is the word? Controlled opposition. Controlled opposition is a political theory or a tactic where a ruling power deliberately establishes or co-opts a seemingly adversarial movement or party to manipulate, misdirect, and ultimately neutralize genuine dissent. So you got a lot of these guys, these what do you call it? The alternative media. You got Alex Jones and them. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are controlled opposition. They'll act like they're against the government, but they're really getting paid by the government or getting paid by the elite. And a lot of y'all you get a teacher, and that never fails. When Tazadok said he was a God-sent comforter, everybody should have left. But they do the yes, you was. Oh, I always knew that the spread. I knew you was a God-sent. That's why they didn't set up no camps. You heard it from Priest Danyaahla. These One West camps that you see are former House of David members that were formerly a part of One West. Let me come on back. I'm sorry.
For years, going back all the way back to the House of David. And for the record, like Elder Pastor has been saying, that Cornelius being an Israelite is not anything new. That didn't start with the House of David. That's where it was cemented at. But it was always in the air that Cornelius was an Israelite. High Priest Ariah, High Priest Shaw spoke about it. You know, they got in touch with Elder Apostle Tahar at the time. His name was High Priest Tahar, and he at the time was teaching. So he didn't have time to sit down and go over it. You know, he just kind of brushed it off because at that time it wasn't time for it to come out. Because that happened to be a very controversial topic, a very controversial thing that happened, you know, that caused us to be cast out of the House of David, but it was just to keep the doctrine pure. This is why Yahweh said the time's going to come when they're going to cast you out of their synagogues. Let me get that real quick. 2 precepts. Let me get these 2 precepts real quick and then we'll... All right, so James 16:1. These things have I spoken unto you that you should not be offended. And this is why the scriptures are the guide. Because they tell us what's going to happen. So when it happens, don't act like some strange thing happened unto you. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth the Most High service. So when they kicked us out of the synagogue.
Let me just show you this here. I got to watch this. Anyway. Just notice it's lesbian. Okay, lesbian from 13 to 14, 24. Okay, she was a lesbian from as a child. Asked Captain Tazariak for advice on getting a man, and it gets interesting. Now, if you one of them, you can be forgiven. I'm just putting that out there, but we'll deal with this maybe later today, maybe right after this video. And see, we constantly doing these videos. We constantly putting up stuff. So the answers is there. Anybody think they got a unique question? You don't have a unique question. If you think you got a unique question, we didn't answer the question.
God or out to school, they thought that they were doing the Most High's work, but they were doing Satan's work. Let me just get this other one. Beautiful. Isaiah chapter 66 and 5. Hear the word of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said that the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. Because all them individuals are going to be ashamed for doing that. You know? And even Bishop Nathaniel, he's teaching now that Cornelius is an Israelite, but he never apologized for that. That was some fucked up shit that they did back then. You know? Never apologized. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's go to Luke chapter 6. I believe it's the 22nd verse. Yep, I started at 20. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of the Most High. Blessed are ye that hunger now, for you shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for you shall laugh. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You know, so that whole situation that happened back then, we didn't get offended by it. It was fucked up, but at the same time, it also freed us up. Let's go to Titus. I think it's, no, 2 Thessalonians 3. Yep, and 1. Finally, brethren, pray for us that the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, may have free course. And that's what happened. As soon as we got kicked out of the house of David, the word was given free course. And guess what? That's when the floodgates of truth of the Israelite foreigners or the Gentiles of the script in the New Testament, that those were Israelites, that's when they opened up even more. Because we already knew it through the Spirit, but it opened up even more and broader. You know, the Romans 11 chapter. I didn't know the week that the elder apostle Gabar mentioned it to the elder apostle Tahar, that the Romans 11 chapter was talking about the Israelites. You know, that week he came up because he used to teach on a Tuesday night. We used to go out to the camp, and then he would teach that Tuesday night. And then when he came there, you know, there's something I got to say to y'all, but, you know, Pastor Tahar said to hold it off for now. You know, we're going to go into it, you know, I believe that Saturday or something like that. Or we were going to eventually go into it. And as soon as he said that, I knew exactly what he was talking about. Because the Bishop Manati, as his title is now, that week we were talking about Romans 11 chapter. That's what he was talking about. You know, and we said, you know, this is dealing with the Israelites. You know, we came to a point where we kind of got a little stuck. So we kind of like left it alone at the moment. But then, you know, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then that night I gave the elder apostle Gabar a ride to the Bronx, to the train station. And then before he got out the car to get on the train, I said, yeah, I know you were talking about tonight. He said, you do? I said, yeah, Romans 11 chapter. He said, yeah, you know. So, you know, it's beautiful, man. So it gave us free course because we were bogged down by bullshit. You know, like Elder Pastor.
Yeah, when they had the council, you know, I quit the council. I didn't want to be on the council. And they said, why you want to be? I said, because you guys are wicked. So I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with you wicked guys. But I was still in the school doing the work. But I was mostly up in Connecticut. And every week they had a meeting. Oh, there's a special meeting on Saturday. So we had to close up camp and go down there. Next week, the same thing. So we got tired of that bullshit. So we were happy when they kicked us out. So now we can do our own thing. And then they started teaching, and Nate was a part. Nate could tell you that if he's honest. Anyway, when he called me after their split, because I said these guys are a bunch of reservoir dogs. After that, they were teaching that, oh, we don't got to keep the laws, and that you got to prove that you're not keeping the laws by eating pork in front of us. 14 guys left. No women were left. Showing you the Most High is not dealing with women. Okay? They're an afterthought. Also, they said, oh, we don't got to go out on the highways and the byways. So that was going on. But we were going out to different places. And then they would always set up camps a block away from us. So they were a bunch of fucking hypocrites, a bunch of demons. The light is pointing on Zabak. After a while, the light is going to point on Nathaniel for his wicked ass, for his demonic ass. You can't defy that guy. You can't say nothing. Whatever he says, it's God, like the word of God.
I called that council. It was a wicked council. You know, and every week for 3 weeks straight, we couldn't even go out to speak on the streets because they wanted to have a fucking council every week. You know? It says, and be glorified even as it is.
And then when we had the council, you had a bunch of zombies in there. Because every last one of them fell out the truth. The only ones that were left in that council, whoever was there, I don't know if Danyaahla was there, but I know Priest Malaya was there. I mean, lawyer. Nate was there, of course, but the rest of them got the Connecticut brothers. But the rest of them, they back in the world. They gone. They ain't set up no camp. You know.
Is with you, right? Because when the scriptures speak about 1 Thessalonians, this is an oldie but goodie, 5:19. Man, quench not the spirit. And that's what them guys were doing. They were quenching the spirit. Despise not prophesying. Yeah, they're quenching the spirit and despise prophesying. We should have been out in the streets teaching, and they want to have a council. Stifling the word. So what happened in 2 Thessalonians 3:1? Finally, brethren, pray for us, that the word of the Lord may have free course and be glorified, even as it is with you, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men. For all men have not faith. And that's what happened during that council. We were delivered from unreasonable and wicked men. So much so that at the end of the council, they didn't even want to pray with us. But now when we left out of the house of David, we were outside. There were two brothers that were a part of the old Boston camp, not the new Boston camp, the old Boston camp, and they came up to us. I don't remember who they were. I don't remember their names. May the Lord have mercy on them. They came up to us and said, look, we don't know what they're talking about. We're brothers. And they saluted us. I don't remember who the two brothers were. I don't remember. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
And Bishop Nate was one of the that didn't want to salute us. But then they wound up teaching what we said we found out to be right. Watch what Yahweh Shem Yahushua going to do to the IUIC. He's going to break the IUIC up.
Sure, Bishop and Nadia, some of them brothers may remember that were there, but they did come to us and salute us. You know? So let's look up this word unreasonable. So they didn't even want to pray with us. The word is atopos. Out of place, see? Not befitting. Unbecoming. Yeah, because you have men crept in unawares. Wicked men. They were before of old ordained to condemnation. Improper, see? Wicked. They were, square pegs trying to fit into a round hole. They were wicked, unrighteous, inconvenient, harmful. And they were harmful to the doctrine. They were stifling the word. But the Lord freed us up and boom, word took off. All right? So I put this video in the description box, for those of you that would want to watch it. Like I said, I didn't watch from the first. I'm pretty sure he brought a whole lot more information. Lord's will I go back, but I watched from the hour and 12 minutes almost to the end. I just went for a little walk somewhere around here. I watched, almost the whole thing. And I give kudos to the priest Danyaahla, and I'm happy, man. I'm happy that the spirit of Yahweh shall have mercy on you to open up your mind, to see this. But how the Lord didn't just pop it in his head. He did the research, and the spirit of Yahweh shall work with him to see it. And that's all we've been telling you individuals out there. You do a little research, look into some words, look into some history. The spirit could open up your mind to see it too. Let me leave you with this one scripture. In the book of, I believe that's either Songs of Solomon, either the 8th chapter or beautiful, oh man, Songs of Solomon 8:1. Oh, that thou wert as my brother, that sucked the breast of my mother. Right, and fellow Israelite, the breast of the mother is this truth. When I should find thee without, meaning what? When you don't have the understanding, the true understanding of the word. I would kiss thee, meaning I would show you, embrace you, so that wisdom can kiss you and open up your understanding. Yea, I should not be despised. Yeah, because it's coming from the heart. It ain't coming out of a malicious place. It's coming from the heart, so that you can catch yourself from the wiles of the devil. It says, I would lead thee and bring thee into my mother's house. Who would instruct me? I would cause thee to drink of spiced wine of the juice of my pomegranate. You see? But, some of you guys are fighting against it. But it is what it is. You know, Barakateh How Bashem outside at the priest Danyaahla and his congregation are not teaching that Cornelius is an Israelite. Beautiful. So with that, I pray that you brothers and sisters have been edified. Till next time I say, Shalom.
Anyway, Shalom, on to the next. Christians' greatest white hope challenges Israelites. What's this all about? This is how they sell their soul. You won't believe what was just exposed by Joe Rogan on the interview. All right, anyway, I'm closing. Shalom.